My friends, imagine for a moment standing at the edge of a great canyon at dawn. The mist rises from the depths below, and in that ethereal moment between night and day, you sense something profound. Your soul whispers of the journey you must take, the leap you must make, while your ego frantically calculates the distance, the danger, the thousand reasons why you should step back from the precipice. This, dear listener, is the eternal dance between what your ego fears and what your soul has already accepted. I have spent decades studying the minds of the most successful individuals on this earth, and in each one, I have witnessed this same magnificent struggle. The ego, that protective guardian of our perceived safety, stands trembling before truths that the soul has embraced with the serenity of ancient wisdom. It is as if we carry within us two entirely different beings, one cowering in the shadows of yesterday's failures and tomorrow's uncertainties, the other standing in the brilliant light of infinite possibility. Think about this carefully. When you were a child, did you not dream impossible dreams? Did you not see yourself as capable of extraordinary things? That was your soul speaking, unencumbered by the ego's learned limitations. But as you grew, as society whispered its doubts and life delivered its inevitable disappointments, your ego began constructing walls around your dreams, labeling them impractical, unrealistic, even foolish. Let me share with you a story that illuminates this truth. I once knew a man who possessed within him the potential for greatness that would have astounded the world. His soul had already accepted this destiny. It sang to him in quiet moments, urged him forward in his dreams, painted vivid pictures of the magnificent life that awaited him. Yet his ego, shaped by years of modest circumstances and the well-meaning but limiting beliefs of those around him, whispered constantly of the dangers of reaching too high, of the comfort found in staying small. This man lived in constant tension, pulled between these two forces within him. His soul would present him with opportunities, inspire him with brilliant ideas, fill him with unshakable knowing about his true capabilities. But his ego would immediately rush in with its arsenal of fears: fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of responsibility, fear of success itself. The ego had become so skilled at protecting him from imagined dangers that it had imprisoned him in a life far smaller than his soul intended. The fascinating paradox I have observed is this: the ego fears most precisely what the soul knows to be true. The ego trembles at the thought of our unlimited potential, because accepting such potential means accepting responsibility for our lives in a way that leaves no room for excuses. It fears our magnificence, because magnificence cannot hide in mediocrity. It fears our power, because power demands that we stop playing the victim to circumstances. Your soul has already accepted that you are capable of extraordinary achievement. It has already embraced the truth that your thoughts have creative power, that your desires are not random, but are divine guidance pointing toward your highest purpose. Your soul has already said yes to abundance, to love, to success, to the fullness of life that is your birthright. But your ego, oh, that clever ego, has built such elaborate stories about why these things are impossible for you. The ego tells you that you are not smart enough, not educated enough, not connected enough, not young enough, not old enough. It whispers that you have missed your chance, that success belongs to others, that you should be grateful for what little you have. The ego speaks in the language of limitation, always finding evidence to support its case for why you should remain exactly where you are. But listen closely to what I am about to tell you. Every limitation the ego presents is nothing more than a temporary illusion. Every fear it conjures is based on a fundamental misunderstanding of your true nature. The ego sees only the surface of life, only the immediate circumstances, only the physical world of seeming obstacles and restrictions. It cannot perceive the invisible forces that shape reality, the creative power that flows through your very being, the infinite intelligence that responds to your sincere desires. Your soul operates from an entirely different realm of understanding. It sees beyond the illusion of limitation into the truth of infinite possibility. It knows that you are not separate from the creative force of the universe, but are an expression of it. It understands that your desires are not selfish wants, but are the universe's way of calling you toward your highest contribution to life. When you truly grasp this distinction, everything changes. You begin to recognize the voice of your ego as it chatters its fearful commentary, and you can choose instead to listen to the deeper wisdom of your soul. You begin to understand that what feels scary to your ego is often precisely what you most need to embrace for your growth and fulfillment. I have watched individuals transform their entire existence by learning to distinguish between these two voices within them. The moment they stopped listening to the ego's catalog of impossibilities and started trusting their soul's unwavering faith in their potential, miracles began to unfold in their lives. Opportunities appeared as if by magic. Resources manifested from unexpected sources. People entered their lives to assist in ways that seemed almost supernatural. This is not mysticism, my friend. This is the natural operation of mental and spiritual laws that govern our universe. When your consciousness aligns with what your soul has accepted rather than what your ego fears, you tap into a power that can move mountains. You become a magnet for the people, circumstances, and resources necessary to fulfill your deepest desires. Consider the nature of fear itself. Fear is always about something that has not yet happened, some imagined future disaster that may never come to pass. The ego projects into tomorrow the failures and disappointments of yesterday, creating elaborate scenarios of doom that exist only in the realm of imagination. But your soul exists in the eternal now, where all possibilities are available, where every moment holds the potential for miraculous transformation. The ego fears rejection, so it prevents you from pursuing the relationships that could bring you joy. The ego fears failure, so it keeps you from attempting the ventures that could bring you success. The ego fears judgment, so it silences the creative expression that could bring you fulfillment. In every case, the ego's protection becomes your prison. Your soul has already accepted that rejection is simply redirection towards something better suited for you. It has already embraced the understanding that failure is nothing more than education, disguised as temporary setback. It knows that the judgment of others is irrelevant compared to the approval of your own conscience when you are living authentically. I want you to conduct an experiment. For the next week, whenever you notice fear arising in response to an opportunity or possibility, pause and ask yourself this question. What is my soul trying to tell me about this situation? What truth has my soul already accepted that my ego is resisting? You will be amazed at the clarity that emerges when you approach fear from this perspective. Instead of being overwhelmed by anxiety, you will begin to see fear as a signpost pointing toward your next area of growth. You will recognize that the things that make your ego most uncomfortable are often the very things your soul is most eager for you to experience. The wealthy individuals I have studied all share this common trait. They have learned to act in spite of fear, to move forward based on what their souls know to be true, rather than what their egos insist must be avoided. They have discovered that courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to proceed when fear is present. Your soul has already accepted that you deserve abundance in every area of your life. It has already embraced your worthiness of love, success, recognition, and fulfillment. It sees you as you truly are, a magnificent being with unlimited creative potential, temporarily having a physical experience but connected to infinite intelligence and power. The moment you begin to align your daily actions with these soul-level acceptances, rather than your ego-level fears, your life begins to transform in ways that will astonish you. You stop waiting for permission from others to pursue your dreams. You stop requiring guarantees before taking action. You stop needing to see the entire staircase before taking the first step. This shift in perspective is what separates those who achieve extraordinary success from those who remain trapped in mediocrity. The successful have learned to trust their soul's wisdom over their ego's warnings. They have discovered that the voice of fear, while loud and persistent, is not the voice of truth. Let me paint you another picture. Imagine your soul as a wise old gardener who has already seen the magnificent oak tree that will grow from the tiny acorn in his hand. The gardener knows exactly what conditions are needed, what care must be given, what patience must be exercised for that oak to reach its full majesty. He has already accepted the reality of that magnificent tree. But imagine also that standing beside this wise gardener is a nervous apprentice, your ego, who looks at that same acorn and sees only a small, vulnerable seed that could easily be destroyed by wind, rain, frost, or drought. The apprentice catalogues every possible threat, every reason why this tiny seed could never become something magnificent. Which perspective do you suppose leads to better gardening decisions? The gardener who sees the oak tree and acts accordingly, or the apprentice who sees only vulnerability and responds with excessive caution? Your soul is that wise gardener. It sees your full potential and knows exactly what experiences, challenges, and opportunities you need to grow into your magnificence. Your ego is the nervous apprentice, well-meaning but limited in vision, seeing danger where the soul sees necessary growth experiences. The question becomes, which voice will you choose to follow? Will you trust the wisdom of your soul, which has already accepted your greatness, or will you submit to the fears of your ego, which cannot see beyond immediate circumstances? I have observed that life consistently presents us with opportunities to choose between these two perspectives. Every day brings moments when we can either act from soul-level acceptance or ego-level fear. Every decision is a chance to align with our highest potential or to reinforce our perceived limitations. The individual who chooses consistently to trust their soul's vision over their ego's fears develops what I call spiritual courage. This is not the absence of doubt or anxiety, but the ability to proceed with their highest aspirations despite the presence of these lower emotions. They learn to use fear as information rather than allowing it to be their master. When fear arises, they ask, what is this fear trying to protect me from? Is this protection actually serving my highest good, or is it keeping me trapped in limitation? They recognize fear as a signal that they are approaching the edge of their comfort zone, which is exactly where growth occurs. Your soul has already accepted that growth requires moving beyond the familiar. It understands that every worthwhile achievement requires you to become someone you have never been before. It knows that comfort and growth are incompatible, that safety and greatness cannot coexist. Your ego, however, equates the unfamiliar with danger. It interprets any deviation from established patterns as a threat to survival. It would rather you remain comfortably miserable than risk becoming magnificently fulfilled, because the known suffering feels safer than the unknown joy. But here is what I want you to understand with absolute clarity. The universe is not neutral about your success. The creative intelligence that governs all existence is actively seeking to express itself through your unique talents, perspectives, and contributions. Your desires for a better life are not random wishes, but are divine urges drawing you toward your highest purpose. When you resist these urges out of fear, you are not simply playing it safe. You are actually working against the fundamental creative force of life itself. You are choosing to remain small when you were designed to be great, choosing to hide when you were meant to shine, choosing to whisper when you were meant to sing. Your soul has already said yes to this cosmic invitation to greatness. It has already accepted the responsibility and the joy that come with living at your full potential. It has already embraced the truth that you have something unique and valuable to contribute to this world. The path forward is not about eliminating fear, but about changing your relationship with it. Instead of seeing fear as a stop sign, begin to see it as evidence that you are moving in the right direction. Instead of interpreting anxiety as a warning to retreat, understand it as excitement about approaching your next level of development. I have spent my life studying the principles of success, and I can tell you with absolute certainty that every person who has achieved something meaningful has had to navigate this same territory. They have all had to learn to act on what their souls accepted rather than what their egos feared. The difference between those who succeed and those who do not is not talent, education, or opportunity. The difference is the willingness to feel afraid and proceed anyway, to experience doubt and take action nonetheless, to acknowledge uncertainty while maintaining faith in their ultimate destination. Your soul has already accepted that you are capable of extraordinary achievement. It has already embraced your worthiness of abundance, love, and fulfillment. It has already said yes to the magnificent life that awaits you on the other side of your fears. The only question that remains is this: will you choose to align with what your soul has accepted, or will you continue to submit to what your ego fears? As I leave you with this question, remember that every moment is a new opportunity to choose differently. Every breath is a chance to trust more deeply. Every day is an invitation to step a little further beyond the comfortable boundaries of yesterday toward the extraordinary possibilities of tomorrow. Your soul is calling. It has been calling all along. It is time to answer with the courage of one who knows that what awaits on the other side of fear is not disaster, but destiny, not failure, but fulfillment, not an ending, but a magnificent beginning. The ego fears what the soul has already accepted. Choose the soul.